what's interesting is having seen your grandfather, right? Who in the life stand-up guy, took it like a man, and like that's a man's man. And I don't think anybody could deny it, right? Versus, Sammy, and Sammy's sharing more of a story now, where even in my opinion, even if he's telling 10% of the truth, you kind of don't blame the guy, but he also went a different route from your grandfather. So how do you reconcile, like, hey, I respect Sammy, I appreciate Sammy, but he took a totally different route from your grandfather? How do you wrestle with that? How do you reconcile that, if you don't mind me asking?
This is a conversation I had myself a long time ago.
Yeah.
And said it out loud, and I don't care who's mad at me, who's not mad at me.
Yeah.
People, I around, in my environment of this livelihood. Okay, look, I love my grandfather more than anything. He chose to do what he chose to do.
Yeah.
But bottom line is, what Sammy did, he chose to do. But again, we're not talking about people that are altar boys.
Correct.
A crime to crime. And
Correct.
I'm sorry. There's no rules in being a criminal. Who made the rule book? The rule book?
Yeah.
So if that's what he chose to do, you know what? Is there honor among thieves? So we allegedly pricked our fingers. It is what it is. So who's going to punish you? You're already going to hell for whatever the frig you did. Yeah. So at the end of the day, what? And again, I feel like, Sammy did that because those tapes were hard. Those tapes were very, very hard to heal, to hear, to swallow. That was a lot. Like, you're riding hard for somebody or your crew, regardless of what it is, if it's crime or if it's not crime. Imagine being on a basketball player and this is your guy who's supposed to have you back, whatever you want to leave, a point guard, whatever the shit goes on when you play a sport. And this guy's trying to sabatage you and make you take the whole L for the team. Nah.
Good point.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, also, and I get. And
then plus you have a family and I have a family. You don't know better than me. So if this boat's gonna go down, let's all go down together. Or keep your mouth shut. But he never thought he was gonna be hurt. So once he was hurt, your true colors get exposed. And then those other things that I heard where he couldn't even hear the tapes or whatever. So now you want me to? I'm allegedly you're all gonna fight for me, but my lawyer can't be privy to certain things. Oh no.
Well, that's what makes it interesting. And I don't know. I get a lot of crap for this on the podcast, and we got a good crew watching tonight, so I think they'll give me less crap. I think a lot of it had to do with, and Francis talks about this a lot, where the mob didn't evolve quick enough, meaning once when Rico came down, right, it was like a shit show. They had you. So you have to change your business model. You always got to be evolving. They were doing the same thing. And Gotti was a very flamboyant guy. There's a lot of people that believe, and you can't disagree per se, that all that media attention didn't help. Like, it's supposed to be a secret society, and you're on Time Magazine.
Oh, that was another thing. I mean, you're supposed to be allegedly a plumber, but you're wearing suits, that cost more than what you make in a month. You know what I'm saying? So you kind of liked the spotlight. You liked making that. It was kind of like you were in love with being, that guy in the Daily News and the Post. You know what I'm saying? Every other week. So certain things should have, meeting in the same places, and photographers are outside. It's kind of like you're asking for the heat.
Correct.
But then also too, my take on it is it okay for the other ones that were respected until they were double agents? Like, was the name a double agent? Scarpa, wasn't he?
Yeah, Scarpa. Yeah.
Right? Wasn't he? He got free to go kill people, but he was still working with the government.
Yep. And on top of it, like, all of a sudden they were going hits, and the guys that typically had an FBI detail suddenly weren't around. So that was just a crazy time.
So you're letting people killed under your watch. And so to me, it's like, okay, so Sammy wasn't really the first one to kind of like, you know what I mean? But being the persona that John Gotti built, the Dapper Don, he was like kind of like, I guess maybe our first, even though we had Capone and we had, all the other, but I guess
Gotti was definitely the number two, and like,
but guys, but it was a time that we were living in, and Tom, it was a time like we were first coming, like, we were maybe that close to getting to the generation with the computers and stuff like that. So it's not like you're going back and could you really get that much stuff on Paul Castello? No, but if it was this day and age, he would be all over the internet.
Correct.
Where Gotti's family keeps it alive. The Johnny Leets keep it alive.
Yeah.
You know, his grandkids, if they would have had that show right now, growing up Gotti, it would have been through the roof.
Yeah.
Because to me, they were the first ones that were kind of with the Jersey Shore without the hair, but it wasn't a day and age of internet.
Yeah.
We didn't have any Instagram.
Yeah.
We didn't have any TikTok.
Correct.
So kind of Jersey Shore took over what those kids were. Who was the first ones to have the kids? The Gotti kids, the hair like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
But it didn't take off as much because we didn't live in that time.
Now, I know you pay no attention to this stuff, and that's why I love you. There's this like whole mob tube where there's like a lot of podcasts popped up, and I luckily I've been doing it for a while, so I never got into the mix. I didn't need to, and kind of kept out of the lane. But what's interesting is a lot of people argue kind of like the spectrum of rats, as they call it, right? So let's go super extreme. Obviously, Joe Valachi. Sammy would fall under that extreme where maybe he testified.
I don't know who's Joe Valachi. See, I don't really keep.
Oh, that was 1963. Well, that's the best part. The people that are into life don't know like the history.
But again,
like,
see the Joe Valachi, because it probably wasn't a time. If I wasn't in their life, probably would have no choice but to know, because